Hello and welcome to chapter 220 of the DC Alliance podcast. With me, as always, is Joe. Joe, how you doing today?
I am tired. Work today was the paint department was down over during third shift, which when that happens, it takes some time to build up trucks or cabs to get sent over to us in general assembly. And that means we are stop and go for most of the day. So it makes for a long day.
Is it conveyor belt painting or is it spray painting or hand painting?
It dips. It's
Okay.
conveyor belt.
Yeah.
It dips into a giant tank. So what the problem is if like something goes wrong in the what's called the Elpo tank, it takes 8 hours to drain the tank, fix the problem, and another 8 hours to fill the tank. That's what they say. I think they've and we've got like I think 3 or 4 tanks because we have multiple colors, but our high runners are the red, the black, the white, blue.
hmm
So like those are the ones that we see the most, and if one of those goes down, that's a problematic.
Well, you're speaking a little bit my language, as I was a painter by trade for like 15 years. Well, I'll say
Okay.
10 because 5 years I did inspecting. I did do a little bit of car work too. I wasn't as skilled with the spray painting that you got to do. You have an extra touch to do the
Yes.
cars by hand. So I did work with a guy that did cars. I think he made $1,000 a car painting
Oh
them.
wow, nice.
So yeah, I'll under the table. So 1,000 directly to him. But yeah, it was fun to learn that. But yeah, it was a
Very
really good
good.
skill. I didn't have that. I was more for like painting zinc, which you can full up on that. It's not a big deal.
Very good. Well, how are you doing today though?
I'm doing well, Joe. It's Friday. Don't have to call people anymore. Had a 82-year-old tell me to burn in hell today. So that was nice.
That's fun.
16 dollars for a cast.
Really?
Yeah,
Burning in
yeah.
hell
I
for
told
$16.
I told you before that.
Oh, you've told me some horror stories.
Yeah, like
Oh,
so.
wow.
Yeah, I was like, okay, ma'am. Sorry that I bothered you. Bye.
Be like, thank you. I'll see you there.
So I'm
Hang
like,
up.
you're see ya. So yeah, I'm happy to have the weekend. Allison's mother is in here, so Oliver gets to play with his grandmother, and I get to be back off of dad duty a little bit, like get to pull back the reins and kind of relax. Probably catch up on a couple shows.
Fun.
Uh, so yeah, I'm excited though, Joe. We got My Adventures with Superman here to talk about 2 episodes, which is always fun, double the fun. So before we do all that, let's get the network plugs out of the way. So we are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance with 7 shows in total. On Mondays bi-weekly is Ranger Alliance. On Tuesdays is a walk through the multiverse. On Wednesdays is the Animation Nation. On Thursdays is Star Wars Alliance. On Fridays is Marvel Alliance. On Saturdays is DC Alliance. And Sundays monthly is World's Finest True Believers. Star Wars Alliance goes live on the Geekverse YouTube channel Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Marvel Alliance goes live Thursdays at 9:10 p.m. Eastern Time. And DC Alliance goes live Fridays between 7 and 8 p.m. Eastern Time. All
Whatever.
depends. That'll soon get more concrete.
It'll be yeah. Give it a few more weeks, and we'll have a
We'll have a
definite.
concrete.
Yeah.
So all 3 of those shows also have their own podcast feed. Search DC Alliance, Marvel Alliance, and Star Wars Alliance if you just want DC content, Star Wars content, or Marvel content only. But if you want all 7 shows on the GUA Podcast Network, stay subscribed to the GUA on your podcast app of choice. And we also have a Patreon, 2 tiers, a $1 tier and a $5 tier. The $1 tier is basically a tip jar, like we're doing. You want to help us out any way you can. And the $5 tier is where you get your extras. You get your ad-free episodes, early access to episodes, and Patreon exclusive episodes. Myself and Joe are going through all the DC films through the years. We put up our most recent entry yesterday, A History of Violence.
Mhm.
That was an interesting discussion for myself and Joe. I think we're in the minority on how we felt about the film, if I'm being honest with you.
According to some of
According
those
to
reviews, yeah.
we're not with the critics. I will say that. So it's an interesting discussion. And Superman Returns is on deck, so that'll be June's entry. We also have the Marvel Alliance guys, Chris and Brent, doing their Tales from the House of X, talking about their favorite Marvel, Fox, X-Men films, including in that, of course, Deadpool 1 and 2. The Wolverine came up recently, so stick with them. They're covering all of their favorite Fox X-Men films. They also have all the Infinity Saga covered as well for the patrons up there. So a lot of good content. We have Joe's Multiverse Minutes as well, where Joe's doing his Disney deep dives. Uh, diving into a Disney film, not only talking about how he feels about the film and the story, but also giving you some interesting tidbits and fun facts. Joe, what's on deck for the listeners
Yeah.
for the first of the month?
So beginning of June, if you guys are listening to this after June 1st, what I just put up was Saludos Amigos, which was the first of what was called the package films, where it was a bunch of shorts put together, wrapped with a bunch of live action stuff cut in between. And this one, they go down to South America and they are kind of touring South America. It's actually, I spoiler alert, I actually kind of enjoyed it. So yeah, it's a fun one. That one is on Disney Plus. So if you guys want to check it out, Saludos Amigos is pretty fun.
Easy accessible too.
Mhm.
So we thank all our patrons. If you're not a patron, if you can take a quick 30 to 60 seconds break and review the podcast on your podcast app of choice, is always greatly appreciated. It helps other people find the shows, and that's always a good thing. Hunter Iggy asked us, have we seen the new music video of
I
Eminem
have
today?
not.
I have, because Allison showed me. She's listened to it twice on the way home.
Yeah,
So
is it good?
yeah,
I
I
mean, it's
guess
Eminem, so like
yeah,
it's
Eminem's
good.
good, but like me and music is not like
Fair.
I'm not as much of a music guy. So honestly, I like a more of a kick-ass soundtrack on a game than just music like that. So, but again, she loved it, so I guess
All right, I'll have
that's
to
a
go check it
positive
out.
there.
Thanks,
Uh,
Iggy.
Before we talk about my adventure with Superman, Joe, I wrote this down because I didn't want to miss it. I know I said last week. I think you might have been gone when I said it. So last week, Charles Barkley went on my favorite sports talk show and said that David Zaslav was an idiot for saying that they didn't need
Oh boy.
basketball. So I thought that was hilarious. So this week he was on another podcast and they asked him. The interview asked him, "Did David Zaslav call you and get mad for what you said last week?" And his response was, uh, first of all, he knows better than to call me.
Uh-oh.
Second of all, it's not going to change my opinion that I think it was a stupid move, that he's mishandled this entire thing, and that we do need basketball. We don't need to bid on college football quarterfinal games. And I busted out laughing. He
Dang.
only has 1 year left on his contract. If Zaslav were to cut him loose, it would a bidding war between Amazon, ESPN, and NBC would ensue.
Yeah.
But he's basically complaining because of not him losing jobs. He don't care about that. He's complaining because he's been there for 24 years, and all the TNT crew, like the people behind the scenes, the hundreds of workers, they're going to be out of a job. So he's
Yeah.
like, "This is brutal. Like, we don't even know. You're not even giving people heads up so they can leave before the final year."
Yeah.
So
Go find out if they can go somewhere else. Yeah.
So,
Shit.
yeah, he's basically raking the WBD, the guy who runs the WBD, over his coals. I just thought it was really funny that like he doesn't care. It doesn't matter to him. He could fire him and it'd be fine anyway. So I thought it was really funny.
Iggy, I did know that his daughter Haley just got married. I think I saw
I think I saw a picture of him with
yeah,
her. Yeah.
because I think Eminem's mom said that he was slow dancing, and that's like not something he doesn't do, or something like that. It's which I'm like, oh, that's awesome. So yeah,
And now Zaslav about to do a stock buyback to give people money and not reward people, and it's not going to do a positive thing that he thinks is going to do. So I'm really interested to see WBD. So that's part of why I wanted to say that. I'm really interested to see.
sure. When's Zaslav leaving again?
I'm not confident, Joe, that WBD is going to exist come Supergirl. I do think it will. I don't think you can get a sale together in a year, but I don't think it's going to be WBD by the time Supergirl rolls around. I don't think with the cash.
And that's 26, right?
Yeah. So I think 2 years is because
okay.
they can't compete with NBC, Universal. They can't compete with Amazon. They can't compete with ESPN, who's Disney. So I mean, it's not getting any better. So yeah, let's talk about some fun stuff though now. So we have My Adventure with Superman season 2, episodes 1 and 2 have come out and dropped. Episode 3 is dropping tomorrow, I think. Maybe tonight on cable, tomorrow on Max, or tomorrow on cable to Sunday on Max.
Yeah, I think it's Saturday night on cable on Cartoon Network,
Sunday on
Adult Swim, and then Sunday on Max.
What are your thoughts on David Zaslav saying if they are sold or merged with other studio company? I just said I don't think they're going to merge. They'll be sold. So just their stock price alone, Iggy, you can track it and just see it's not a successful company. that has a stock price that goes
It's
like
failing, which is not great. Yeah.
$7, Joe. It
Ooh.
was like
So I should buy in
$70.
now.
It was $70 before. Now that's not all tied together, but it was $70 before BBS, like before all that stuff after BBS happened.
Yeah. Once
But obviously,
everything
it was
started
two
falling
takeovers,
apart.
two different
Sure.
regime changes is what actually led to it. It's not BBS. I'm not saying that, please. Uh, so yeah, we have My Adventure with Superman here, Joe. Episode 1, essentially, we find out a lot about Superman's backstory. So I want to get your thoughts like off the top, and then we'll talk about some of the key points that I had jotted down here.
I really like this episode. That very beginning where he's dreaming was I think I realized he was dreaming the minute he started chasing after the kid. I'm like, oh wait, that's Clark.
Yep.
And then the family hit both Ma and Paul, and then Jimmy and Lois are like basically like going attacking him. Seeing Jor-El and Jor-El showing up and actually speaking English immediately was cool, and obviously dispelled what I had said last week of how Kara would be the one to be able to be the mediator. The fighting was kind of cool. It was the scene that we previewed last week, week before, and we got to answer who that was. Which once they said the name, I'm like, what? So
I didn't hear his name.
Damage.
Oh,
his name is Damage, and he was part of the. There was a new stint of DC characters that came out after Dark Knight's Metal, and he was one of those characters. And so I'm like, holy crap, that is awesome! I didn't expect that, so that kind of got me hyped. I enjoyed both these episodes. I definitely enjoyed this first episode.
Me too, and I like what comes out of the second episode too. So we'll get into that later. But I really love both these episodes. The animation style is still great. I thought like even his powers and all that stuff still works so well. The story, I do love the not everything's smooth sailing right now. Lois and Superman are kind of bumping heads in the way to do things, and that's not the only group that's like going against each other at the moment.
I did laugh because it's Valentine's Day and Clark is going to have this
Jor-El?
nice romantic.
Jor-El?
Jor-El.
No, that's when I laughed most in that whole.
That part.
That whole through line joke that went through the whole episode.
Yes.
When Jor-El mentioned it, that's when I laughed the hardest.
Well, I laughed when he starts to bring out this poem, and it's, "Can you read my mind?" Everybody's like, "No, stop it," because they know that was one of the worst parts of that movie.
Again, I did.
It was great.
It was.
It was perfect.
So, we'll jump into it right now because I mentioned him too. Jor-El, what do you think of Jor-El?
I liked him.
Us finally getting some more clarity on him.
I really liked him. I wish, so by the end of it, he's gone. And of course, it's just a remnant of him. But because of Brainiac taking over the ship and the kryptonite that was kind of hurting the ship, he's gone now.
I took it a little differently. Just one part. I took it like Brainiac was just a program that he used, like a ship program.
Yes, that has been established in comics before, where the Brainiac system helped the Kryptonians at some point in time.
Yeah.
But at some point it gained enough sentience to take over.
He doesn't mention who they fought, though. That's one thing. Like he said, we expand it, and he didn't mention who they fought. So it's a couple possibilities that it could be. Because I'm not
very Viltrumite, if I might say.
And going to be honest with you, yes, that's one of the vibes I got from that. But yes, Joe, I really enjoyed Jor-El. I thought, I actually felt sad when he disappeared. I don't think he's gone for good. Because
gone for now.
For now, yes, I do think probably by the end of the season, maybe with Kara's help, they can get him back, because they do have a fortress now, and that's one thing I thought was so cool, was how the fortress ended up.
Interesting. It was very interesting. Yeah. I mean, obviously, every interpretation is going to be different.
Yeah.
And this is a cool design.
I like that it's his own thing. That's one thing I do appreciate. It's not like, let's just copy exactly like Superman 78.
Everything,
Yep. Like, I do appreciate this is like its own thing where the steps are like levitating I did enjoy that, and the whole getting his backstory and Clark basically being heartbroken. And bravo to the animators on this because they did a great job of showing him
Yes, they did.
as a heartbroken person there. So yeah, I thought Jarrell was wicked, and his ending with the kryptonite infecting the ship, I thought that was great. I don't know where the kryptonite came from in the beginning.
My guess is it was probably on the ship.
From when
That
Krypton
here's the thing:
exploded.
it may have been like a normal crystal that helped actually like pilot the ship.
Yeah,
But once
when
Krypton exploded, it had changed it, and as it was going through, the universe over time, it had changed it to be harmful. Because this
and
is a different world, they're doing things differently, and
yeah,
I'm liking it. So,
same.
what's to say that this kryptonite? Because
Well, we
as
see
we
what it does
see,
to damage.
what
It
does damage, what does Superman, like you get the crystals growing out. So this is something we haven't really seen in the comics in any other media. So it could be a different take on it, and it could be that this crystal was maybe even housed the Brainiac program at some point. Who knows?
I got to write down a point because it comes up in the second episode that will back up some of what you're talking about here that I
Okay.
want to get into. So we basically talked about Superman's ship and the Fortress of Solitude as well as a couple of the points that I wanted to talk about. What do you think about Task Force X and Waller in this episode, Joe? As we don't know how they got in, how they found out about this. It's just we're here.
Yeah, they're just there.
Yeah,
Which is interesting, but it doesn't surprise me because Waller, keeps tabs on the Earth, keeps tabs on everything going on, and after everything that happened last season with
and everything that happens in the next episode is pretty easy to see that she can be on top of things like that. So
Yep,
I loved it. I love Deathstroke as well,
Deathstroke's great.
especially
Damage
at
was
the
cool.
end when
Damage was really cool.
when he walks away with a few kryptonite shards.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a nice little touch that we will see come back again. Maybe
100%.
does something to his swords with kryptonite. So yeah, I did enjoy that, and the fight between Superman and Damage, that was a pretty good little tussle there.
Yeah.
But I do love how he gets taken out by the kryptonite. That was awesome. He's like crystallizes. So
Yeah.
and finally, Kara. We got told that Kara exists, that he needs to find the beacon to
track her down.
contact her because the one here has been destroyed. So, what do you think of that? And he didn't tell anybody at the end of this episode. He kept that to himself because Lois wants to save her dad. Because we find
Yeah, I
out
think
that
he was
Waller
going to
has
try
he
to
was going to
tell.
tell Lois,
Yeah.
but she tells her what happens, and he said, "We'll do this. We'll save your dad first.
Yeah.
Like, you're most important."
I think the interesting thing here is when he shows, Jor-El shows Clark, Superman, him getting put in the ship and him leaving, we pan over to Zor-El, and he is putting Kara in a ship, and she's also a baby, an infant. Like, that was interesting to me. So we know, because we've seen it, she is grown when she gets when they do find her. So we've seen different tales. Like, she goes through a time vortex, she lands on a different planet. Like, things happen. So I'll be interested to see how they
Darkseid finds her, or Granny Goodness finds her and
something
brings her
like.
into to her new Furies, and we don't get to see anything after that about that.
Thank you, Young Justice.
Young Justice.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, things, I'm interested to see what happens. They've got my interest.
Same, Joe. And we'll get to Iggy's question here for a second before we take our first ad break. He wants to know what our thoughts on Zack Snyder coming back to do 300 prequel series.
So I believe I talked about this a little bit months ago on A Walk Through the Multiverse, that this was a thing happening. Mainly because I believe the rights for the movie, and I can't remember what the movie was called. No. It was a sequel, I think.
Yeah, there was a sequel to this.
Well, no, there was a sequel to this, but there was something that Zack Snyder had, like he had the rights to, that WB finally gave up and gave back to Zack Snyder.
Well, he's doing it with WB too.
This, yes, but what I'm saying is that there was a project tied to 300 that he was going to do, and I thought it was the prequel. And maybe it still is. So the fact, if they are going to get the Snyder back, like, that's, I'd be very surprised if he goes back.
I'd be interested to see if it's a Max series too. It'd be pretty cool to have episodes. So yeah,
I'll have to go talk to my neighbor and see what he tells me.
you dig up some. You turn over some stones,
Well, I
Joe,
mean,
and ask some questions.
he's out of town right now. I'm out of town next week, so it'll be a few weeks before I
Flop
come
there,
back
throw
with some
rocks at his window.
information. Yeah. No, what?
Throw a rock at his window with a
No.
piece of paper. Tell me if this is true. No, I'm kidding, of course. So we'll take our first ad break of the evening, listeners. We're an ad support network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. We'll give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe. So jumping into episode 2, because Lois overheard Deathstroke talk about torturing Sam Lane back at the base. She knows that Task Force X has him, and she asks Clark for help. So that is what we're going to start with here. But I want to talk about the first. We'll talk about what we liked about this episode. The first thing that I loved was the opening with Waller. I thought that was pretty cool and interesting to do it that way. Show us like everything from Waller's perspective as she goes down into Task Force
her
X.
her being a boss, yeah,
and pumping herself up. It reminded me of like Bruce Willis in Friends. Look at the mirror, be like, "You're the man. You can do this." So, I did enjoy that. What do you think about the opening?
very nice. I mean, it was fine. It was pretty cool, pretty fun. Nothing really right home about. It's just
I just laughed. I thought it was
Yeah.
just funny. And yeah, we do have to. One thing about the other episode was the Valentine's Day plans. I the joke of Clark not doing enough and that he should do a big romantic gesture. And then when Drell said, like, you lost your, he was like, you took your girlfriend here, or your partner that has no powers like us, and you lost her. And he's like, if I did that to your mother, Clark, Kal-El, I would have to do a big romantic gesture to win her back.
Yep.
So I really chuckled. I wanted to mention that before we jump into episode 2. So yeah, Waller versus Lane. What do you think about the showdown here, Joe?
It's two masterminds going up against each other. Like they are both playing chess against each other, and they both have. Oh, no, I think they are.
No, one's playing chess.
No, they both are.
Okay, let me rephrase that. One thought he was playing chess, and the other one was playing checkers, and then towards the end of the episode, he finds out that the other one's playing chess as well, because it won't take away the moves of the fail-safe houses with the tech that's hidden away, because Waller wants, she thinks that Sam Lane has facilities where the Kryptonian tech are hid away, because there's got to be more than what they have. So she wants that, and that's what she's trying to do to basically get him. But he doesn't know that she has been operating under his nose a lot, because he thinks that he has, because the first exchange, he thinks that he has everything up on her, because he knows what happened at the trip they went to with the spaceship in Antarctica, and he just basically says, I built this thing, like I know everything that happens here, and we find out that is not the case. I do love this.
So it's because it's one of those things where you've got Lane, who thinks he's 2 steps ahead of Waller, and you've got Waller, who thinks she's 2 steps ahead of Lane.
Knows about everything but the failsafe. Like she knows.
That's what I'm saying. Like she thinks she's ahead of Lane. Like they both have things that they don't know about. We saw it with Lane finding out about Waller's experiments. Like they both think that they have the upper hand, but they don't. They're both on even playing ground, I think.
I'm going to give it to a little bit more Waller, because she knows that she doesn't know that. But he doesn't know that she has all this stuff going on. But she at least knows that he has the Kryptonian tech somewhere. Like she's going to possibly get people to torture him, try to figure it out. But like he knows all the tactics, yes. So, but I will say that at least she knows about the thing she wants to find out. He doesn't know. Now he finds out about it. So, to Joe's point, there, I would say by the end of the episode, I would put Sam above Waller a little bit, but like it went from below to above when he finds out everything, because he still has that trump card of I had the Kryptonian tech and nobody knows where it is but me.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
I do enjoy it though. Like I said, that's a really interesting aspect of this episode, because that power dynamic flips a couple times in the episode. And I love that. Like when when she's interrogating him first, he has the upper. He has the high ground.
And then she brings up Lois and all this, and he's like, "Wait, what?" Yeah,
She flips
it
it.
flips.
She's like 20 years. I don't only know how you like your coffee.
Yep.
So again, really nice touch. I do love the interrogation here. And you think like we're not getting Superman scenes that wouldn't interest me as much. Nope, that kind of stuff I do. When you do a good job, you suck me in like that. So I did enjoy the Wilder versus her. What do you think about Superman and Lois basically having different opinions on what they should do?
I mean, I would say growing pains, but we've got Lois, who obviously wants to save her dad, even though he's been kind of a shit to Superman. It's still her dad.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
But then you got Superman, who's like, "Hey, I'm going to do this for you, even though your dad was trying to capture me. But also, I need to go save my cousin. I need to go find my cousin."
And she's
Once
like,
he tells her
"No,
about
don't
it.
do it. I don't think you
Well,
should do it." And I'm like,
here's the other thing. He had the dream or the Jor-El in the first episode about how he's literally the last one. There is no more Kryptonians coming.
mhm.
And he hasn't
Well,
told
Jor-El
Lois
even
that yet.
Jor-El even tells him that there's a dead ship. Yeah, like you said in the ship part, like Jor-El tells him there's no other Kryptonians besides you and your cousin. That's it.
Yeah.
So
You
like
guys are literally last ones.
you're
Although we
afraid
do
about an
see,
invasion. Yeah,
so we see, I think Zod. Was it Zod at the end?
potentially
Yeah.
at the end. Yeah.
So,
So what
yeah, but
Jor-El
no, it's
knows
like
anyway.
it's the difference here is normal. Now, obviously, these two are both very open with everything that they are in the show, everything that their feelings, every single decision they make. So I don't think it will be a secret, air quote secret for long. Next episode after maybe, but it'll be interesting to see what what comes about from this.
Yeah,
I
and
don't think
again,
it's gonna be like end of a relationship or anything, but
no, it's
it's
just going to be them bumping up. I don't think that we're going to get an end of relationship kind of
yeah.
thing. So yeah, I do. Like I said, I'm right there with you on that. I did enjoy their disagreement, but I didn't think that Lois was right in her saying like, just forget about that right now, just go save my dad. Don't worry about anything else. And she sticks him with him at the end. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. What do you think about Flamebird, Jimmy, and his crew? He has a crew
I
now.
just I chuckled at that.
When
Especially when Perry, like when Jimmy's like,
Jimmy,
the interns are listening to me, and Perry just stares at him, and you see that smile just start creeping and just cackles.
he's like, "This
It
is
was great.
awesome! This is exactly why I did this." So
It's great.
again, I
The other thing is the entire both episodes. Anytime, because we at the end of the last episode or last season, Jimmy sold Flamebird to
Daily Planet.
Daily Planet, so he's rich. And then he's like, "Oh, I'll rent a plane, I'll rent a boat," and you see the ticker
Ticker.
going down, and he's losing all this money.
He's going to be at zero by the end of the season.
Oh yes,
Sure.
100%. He'll be broke by the end of the season.
So yeah, I thought that was hilarious. Especially the sports guy is in his crew.
Oh,
Can't remember his name.
Lombard.
Yeah,
Lombard. Yeah.
yeah. So I guess we'll talk about these other two here of Stryker's Island and Waller's experiments,
Mhm.
because this is what ties into something I want to talk about, because they were taking non-violent inmates and experimenting on them. Some of the inmates had crystals growing out through the sides of them, like little rock formations, like the same ones that the kryptonite caused to
Yeah.
damage his tech. So I'm thinking that you're using something with Kryptonian tech or Kryptonian something to
Yes.
do these experiments, and you can see it on the sides of them, which I thought was just a nice, interesting, subtle detail.
Well,
there.
they even explained it. Like they had all of these. Basically, every single villain that we saw in the first season, with the exception of maybe Ivo, every single one was using the Kryptonian tech developed by Waller
Mm-hmm.
and Alex. We'll get to Alex.
Yep.
And so I like that they're wrapping it together. They're bringing it back together. Of like, oh, so everything that's going on with Superman isn't just random gangs. It's
all tied together.
Yeah, it's a thing that's actually been coming about. And Waller even said, like, if I get a success from one of these test subjects, I'll give it to somebody, and then they can go. If I don't, well, it's just a prisoner.
What I loved about this is when Sam Lane finds this out, and he is shocked that
Mhm.
she's operated this under his nose for this long. and he's horrified that she would do this to civilians. And her justifications: I need to do this to a few civilians to save humanity. If I got to kill a few humans to save humanity, so be it. And Lane is disgusted because this all happens because Superman and Lois engineer a breakout. And I love how
Yeah.
Sam Lane is not happy that they're there to save him. And he takes off on his own. And he's also not happy with Clark Kent for letting Lois come down here. Just a nice little touch that would make me laugh.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the prison break. What do you think about the fight between Superman and Atomic Skull?
That was cool.
That was badass.
That was really cool.
That was badass. I really enjoyed that. I love how he's like, I was designed to kill you. Superman smart using the building to drop on him. Nice little touch there. Again, really, really good action scenes here.
I'm loving the show. This show is
same.
awesome.
And ultimately, they get away, of course, because Jimmy rents a boat. The yacht shows up as Waller comes outside to try to stop him from all inmates and Lois and her father from leaving. And Superman swoops in, steals all the guns, and they get away. And then all they get is a news crew there. So
Yep.
I love that. Who do you think Waller was talking to that called to reprimand her?
See, I don't know. I honestly do not know.
Could we
I'm
get
trying
like
to think
checkmate style thing where they're
Well,
higher? She
did
mentioned
say
checkmate.
she did mention checkmate, so it's
Yeah.
possible if we follow that path.
I'm thinking that's who that was.
Could be the
leader of
Black King,
Checkmate.
which
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna sit here and say it's Maxwell Lord.
No,
I'm just gonna say it's the Black King.
that would be really good if it was Joe, just because it would be nice to give like some audiences, a lot of audiences don't have a sweet clue who that is, like in terms of
Well,
DC comic villains or comic
yes, then
characters,
it
not
would be
general
good
audience.
because you'd introduce Maxwell Lord. Yes, but it would introduce Maxwell Lord before he shows up in Superman or
Or
in the
next
DCU.
project, yeah.
But I don't think the Maxwell Lord of the previous DC comics, pre New 52, obviously was a villain. He became a villain, but he wasn't that when he got created. And I believe now they're even trying to change him to where he's back to being a good guy of sorts. So I wouldn't. That's why I said it's probably just Black King and not Maxwell Lord. I'm not gonna say we can't see Maxwell Lord.
Don't
in
rule
the
it
show.
out because I said that I wanted to see John Henry Irons and watch the preview for next episode, people.
Oh, I didn't see the next. I didn't see the preview, so I'm
If
fine.
no
I don't
names
need
are
to-
said. No names are said. I'm just speculating.
But no, so I don't know who it could be. So I'm fine. Honestly, I'm fine with not knowing.
Same, Joe. And he has the homing beacon at the end, and like I said, Lois tells him that she doesn't want him to activate it because she's afraid of an invasion. But like we said, we know the difference. So I hope he gets on that soon.
I think he'll say something to her this next episode.
That's gonna no. I think this is gonna be a like midway through the season. This storyline starts kicking into gear. I feel like Task Force X is gonna be the first half. I feel like I just heard my dog run down the first half of the steps.
Uh oh. Well, we better get through this news then.
Oh, he'll be fine. He'll just sit by the door of my room here. So yeah, I really enjoyed this episode, Joe. This was a great show, and I can't wait to talk about the episode next week.
Yeah.
So
without me,
let's. Oh well, sorry. I think we'll talk about the episode next week, depending on the news, listeners. We may not be on next week. It all depends on the news, but Joe's going to be away. And instead of me doing a solo episode, if there's not a lot of news, we'll just wait and have 2 weeks full of news.
Content,
yeah.
That's
so,
fine.
But if there's any big news, I will be here to break it all down for you, of course. But if this is the news like we have tonight, no. So our first news item, Joe, Watchmen, the animated movie that we talked about before here, one of the animated movies that we're going to see from DC, is going to come out in 2 parts, which I didn't know. The first part will release August 13th, 2024.
So does that mean they're like doing the full book? Like,
I think so.
The book itself, the comic book itself, is 12 issues.
Mm-hmm.
Each issue is pretty big, with a bunch of other like little stuff in between there too. So if that means that they are doing 6 issues a piece for each movie, like that's pretty. I know you're trying to find it. Look
there
for
somewhere. Up there somewhere. I don't know if they're not alphabetized.
You need to keep it alphabetized. I see it right there.
I think I see it.
Anyway, but yeah, like if it's 6 issues, I'm fine with that. Like,
I am, as long as, like I said, I'd rather them have two parts than not one. That's part of what I think made Injustice terrible, was they only had one film.
yeah, that one
Whereas
should
that
definitely
should
have
have
been
been
like
a
two, at
series or
least
something.
two.
That could have been a couple seasons if you did it right, with
I mean,
some really
you
big
could have
payoffs.
probably made it into 3 to 4, but I
The
think
season
it should
finale
have been at
should have
least
been
two.
season finale of, or series. See, the first episode, the end of the first episode should have been Superman putting his hand through Joker, and then you go on from there. I do think that you could have a pretty long show if you did it right, but alas, we didn't get that. So yeah, I'm really excited about Watchmen. August 13th is going to be the first part of this. I assume they'll release the second part before the end of the year.
You think so?
I hope so anyway.
I mean, I could see beginning of next year. I could see like January, February.
Could be, yeah. I do think James Gunn probably wants the board completely split.
Sure, yeah, get it empty so that when Creature Commandos comes out, which that's this year.
That's what we call. That's what we call a segue here, listeners. As the next bit of news is Creature Commandos' first look will be at the Annecy Film Festival on June 14th. I am excited about that jump, as hopefully that leaks out and we get to talk about that, because we haven't seen anything from the animation.
The pictures.
Stuff. Pictures. I want to see the animation style, Joe. I want to see how it's animated.
That's what the pictures are.
I want to see how it's animated, how they move in animation. So
you'll see it when it comes out later this year.
Content for us to talk about, but yeah, I'm excited about this. I'm interested to see the show, and we talked about it last week, or well, I talked about it last week. The Lanterns cast, Lanterns people that are the show people behind the scenes. Gunn confirmed them. He said, yes, it's true. The Lanterns DCU series is putting together a crack team of writers based on a wonderful pilot script and Bible by Chris Mundy, Tom King, and David Lindelof. A hearty welcome to Chris and David Lindelof as they've joined the DC Studios family. No welcome necessary for old Tom King, who has been nearly since inception. So that's pretty interesting. I'm glad, and I wondered why he confirmed the story, and it was actually here. He mentions why, because someone asked, like, why you debunk this, why you don't debunk stuff from Deadline and Variety and that. And he said, oftentimes news sources break things while we're in talks, and the deal may not work out. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I don't want to, or it's sensitive stuff. A lot of times it's wrong and not worth dealing with. And a lot of times I don't see the stuff. In this case, our publicist told me about it, and that Chris and Damon were credited in the trades, but not Tom, which didn't seem fair. So I posted this.
Good for Gunn.
That's pretty good. I like to hear that. Tom King getting his credit there too. So, yeah. So more Gunn. We got a couple more Gunn replies here. Gunn confirms that Teen Titans will not be in production. So, shooting down another Daniel RPK rumor. Teen Titans will not go into production at the end of the year. He said no. He didn't say it wasn't a production, but he just said it's not going into production this year. And I do think because he has plans for Deathstroke, I do think we're going to see him show up versus the Titans.
Well, so here's the thing. The question was asked if it's going to go in production on the 31st of December. Could be the 30th. Could be the 29th.
Well, for being that literal, I think that it's just not even ready to start yet. And someone asked him.
I mean, probably not. Well, but production could be writing a script. It could be casting. Like,
okay, shooting. So one thing, shooting.
Okay, no, it won't be shooting.
Yeah,
they're asking production.
Yeah,
it could. Here's the thing. Something I learned when I was watching a bunch of these comic book movies and watching some stuff behind the scenes stuff. The Fantastic Four movie from 1994, the really bad one that did not go to theaters. Their casting, they casted everybody, which would be production stuff.
Just pre-production, isn't it?
But I guess there would be pre-production. But that went and they did the casting like in November, December. They were, I believe they started filming just after Christmas that year because they needed to be on the books by the 31st. They filmed for like 14 or 15 days, basically 2 weeks is how long that film took to film, and then they were done.
Mhm.
So what I'm saying is that they could go into production by the end of the year. I don't think they will, because again, production is, I mean, it's a wide range of things. It could be writing a script. It could be, I mean, again, that is all pre-production, but like it could be something.
I
But
think
I
he's
don't
just
think
trying
it's
to
gonna
get
happen.
his house in order first, but Authority, Supergirl, and stuff like that. I think the Titans is on the back burner a little bit for that, especially if we just got an iteration of them that only ended a couple of years ago. So uh, I wouldn't say no to it.
Yeah, but we just got
hope
an
so.
iteration of Superman that just ended last year.
Yeah, but Superman is a bit more
Oh,
in his cultural zeitgeist.
Superman's better, huh?
Yeah, he is
Okay.
actually.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Someone forgets what Titans made him feel like.
No. Season 4 of Titans had a turnaround. Seasons 1 through 3, not so much.
That were all the shit. So, some fun stuff here. The Penguin series will stream on Sky this fall in the UK, Ireland, Germany, Switzerland, Austria, and Italy. So we don't have a date for America yet, but obviously it's going to have to be the same time, if not earlier.
My guess is it's probably
Because of
same
Max.
time. Yeah,
I do think it's
exactly.
going to be Max for everyone. So yeah, I do think that is the screening window will continue into the summer as more shows become available to screen. So we look forward to assisting needs alongside these shows we saw in LA. So yeah, Warner Brothers Discovery is really putting out the Penguin 2 as a Max show that people are going to love. So I can't wait for us to start reviewing that. I'm hoping we find that out, the release date of that, before we start Batman Caped Crusaders, because then we can make a decision. Should we do 2 episodes a week of Batman Caped Crusaders until we get to the Penguin, if we know when that is, or should we do it all? We know Penguin starting in September, because Batman Caped Crusaders, everything's dropping at once. So we got to decide: are we going to do
We'll figure that out.
album, 2
Yeah, we'll
parts?
figure that out later.
I do think that Penguin will inform us on that decision a little bit.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to say is we're watching really closely to see when Penguin is announced as starting in the States. So can't wait for that. Joker Folie à Deux is going to appear in the Venice Film Festival. The film won the 2019 Golden Lion at the festival. Just again, I don't know if it's going to have the same success, but this is an interesting route to take. I got a feeling we're going to get a lot of praise for Lady Gaga's performance.
I'm looking forward to it.
Same. I think it's going to be an interesting twist and change from the other film.
With a feast.
So Anthony Starr talks about some Booster Gold rumors. And he said, "Me and James just play golf. If it ain't milk, I ain't doing it, honey." I think that's a shout out to the breast milk for Homelander. I cannot wait.
Okay, whatever.
I cannot wait to see what he does with the DC universe. He's one of the biggest brands. He's one of the biggest brands in the industry. So I'm excited to see what he cooks up. I do think he just did show the picture there, him with Booster Gold. I'm like, my God, that would actually be perfect.
I'm not going to say no.
He looks a little bit like the guy who played Booster Gold in Smallville.
Who was that?
I want to say that was. My God!
Because it wasn't some rando. It was actually like somebody.
Sorry, it's Muppet Booster right here. Got it.
You're good.
So it would be Eric Martsolf. He was in some soaps, I think. Days of Our Lives.
Sure.
Passions. So yeah, he was in soaps, but again, he looks very similar to to who they want, to Anthony Starr there. So I thought that was funny. And yeah, one other thing about Joker Folie à Deux that I should have had right after the Venice Film Festival is Lady Gaga.
Split it up.
Lady Gaga spoke on her role in Joker Folie à Deux. She said, "Lee is very special to me. She is truly a vulnerable, sweet person. My version of Harley is mine, and it's very authentic to this movie and these characters. I've never done anything like this before in a movie. So, or anything like this movie before."
I think that was part of a song somewhere. Anyway.
So yeah, I'm like we said, we're interested to see what she brings to the table, Joe.
Definitely, 100%.
So, just a couple little news things before we talk about the Boy Detectives episode 4. Jeff Loeb's going to return to DC to write a 10-issue Batman Long Halloween, The Last Halloween. It releases in September. So, that's pretty interesting. I know a lot of people love that book.
Oh, Long Halloween's a great book. I'm just a little sad that they're going back to that well.
Well, it says here, Gotham City learns to fear Halloween once more as a terrible event threatens to destroy Jim Gordon's life and puts Batman and Robin's teamwork to the test more than ever before. In a city of liars, mass vigilantes, and criminals, can anyone be trusted?
And, I mean, is it... Here's my... I don't want to say complaint, but here's my big thing is Tim Sale's not going to be on the art.
No.
Which Sale and Loeb, that combo made that book.
Someone could probably get similar to the style.
It might be similar, and that's fine. And again, the Long Halloween, the sequels, Dark Victory, and what was the other one? There was another sequel that I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, great story, great for its time. We are now decades past it because that came out in the 90s, if I remember correctly. I just feel like this is just a cash grab. And I'm not saying the story won't be good. Like, it will probably be an amazing story. It's Jeff Loeb. But, you don't need to do this. That's just my opinion. I'm just saying.
I agree with you on that, I think. So, again...
You could call it, I mean, it doesn't have to be a Halloween story.
You didn't need to use the line Halloween. Obviously, you did it for marketing purposes, but like Joe said, you really don't want... The combination is what made that book. Joe was 100% right. I
say this because how many times do they go back to...
They always do.
Well, I was going to say the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight comics. Like, they went back to that well 4 different times because Frank Miller, here you go.
Here's some money. Here's some money. Here's some money.
Yeah, I just...
So, I said, I'm with Joe on that, but I also can't imagine, DC backing up the Brinks trunk to either write something else, and you're like, "What, you're going to pay me this much to write a comic? Okay, might not be great. Who cares? Let me do it." So, yeah, I might do the same, but again, still, I'm going to check it out, but I'm with Joe, and I'm not sure how good it's going to be.
I'll wait till it comes to trade because I trade wait anymore anyway. So, or when it comes to DC Universe, Infinite Plus Max thing.
So, one final thing here: the Schumer cut, the release to Schumer cut, people are trying to get a movement on the go. June 16th, starting at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Just wanted to give them a shout out there for trying this. I would watch that day one if it drops.
Yes.
So,
dude, if they put that thing in theaters, I would be there. With
they put it in Spider-Man films. Do you think you could put a cut of that? But maybe
but that's Sony doing that, not this is WB, and they're making great decisions.
It's just ask Charles Barkley. Yep. So yeah. Finally, The Flash races to Netflix on June 25th.
Ooh.
Yay.
Exactly.
So, Joe, we have a Dead Boys Detective episode 4, The Lighthouse Ghosts. It's not actually called that, but what do you think about this episode?
Enjoyable. It was different. It had a little bit of horror tones to it. I definitely like the walrus shop owner guy. He's kind of fun.
He's a nice character. Nice character.
I'll be honest, I kind of forgot that the witch made Monty.
That's something that's stuck in my...
I must have been looking away, or I must have been not paying attention because I remember her doing it, but I didn't remember the face. And then when he showed up last episode, in episode 3, I didn't put 2 and 2 together. And that's on me. So when they showed at the beginning of this one, I'm like, oh yeah.
And poor Edwin, because he's getting played by a couple different.
See, he's getting played
characters.
by Monty, but I definitely think Cat King actually has an interest in him.
Oh yeah, but he's still being played by
yes and no.
cats.
I think he. Well, look, yes, but that's a whole different. That's only because Edward or Edwin didn't want to bang Cat King. But I definitely think that the Cat King has opened up something in Edwin that he was repressing.
Oh,
Because
100%,
at the very end, when he is looking at Charles, he has like
and he mentions to oh my god, I'm forgetting her name. Pink
Crystal. Oh, Crystal. Yeah, Crystal.
No,
Crystal Palace. Oh, you mean Nico?
Nico. There we go. He mentions to her that because she's talking about his feelings, and he mentions like only just recently I wanted to think about what it was like to kiss. I never thought about it before. So I do think that the Cat King has something to do with that.
Oh, 100%.
So, I did like the mystery of this episode too, with the lighthouse and the people jumping off and not knowing what it was. And like Joe said, the walrus shopkeeper telling them not to kill it and just telling them what they need. I do love how he basically freaks out when they see the woman, and he's like, "I've been spending 50 years trying to find her." So I did think that was funny. And she's just, and Nico's just like, "We just looked through some glass."
Yep, just this red glass. Not this one, but something like this. Like that's, I mean, really, like Nico's a really fun character because she's so nonchalant in everything, and she's so genuine too. Like that's another big trait that she's giving off. I will say the ending where the one lady from the office, I can't remember her name.
The night nurse or something.
Yes. Like her coming to find the boys, and Charles just
that was a little bit for me because they went from like the traumatic Charles experience to just like she was gone, and I wanted her to be a foil for longer. Maybe she will come back, but
I mean, I don't know.
I didn't,
but I definitely think it'll have consequences.
Oh, I think death is going to be coming.
Yeah, yes. And who knows? I mean, I'm sure if Dream had shown up, we would have seen something about it by now in like some news.
In some news or YouTube clip or something.
Yeah.
I do want to ask if death comes, I do think only one of the two of them are going to be taken. Which one do you think is going to sacrifice himself for the other? I know they'll both try, but I can see.
I think Edwin would.
I can also see Charles trying to do it, but yeah, I do think because of what happened, and it would make it even more big of a sacrifice, but Edwin would have to go back down to hell where he was wrongfully sent in the first place. So yeah, again, an interesting episode. We still have the witch payoff to get down the line, but she still has issues with the guys and Crystal. So
yeah,
I'll be interested to see how that plays out too.
Yeah, no, I'm loving the show. It's a really fun show.
It's interesting. It's different, and I like different because a lot of things are the same these days, and this is completely. There's nothing else like it, really.
I really hope that we get a second season. Now, I don't know if we will. I don't think we are either because we will have probably heard by now.
We're definitely not.
Yeah, but we haven't heard a no yet, so we'll see.
So now we get to go to the worst thing to talk about tonight. This episode is a dumpster fire. Smallville.
Yes, it is. It's pretty stupid.
420, I think, ageless, and you might want to partake in that to get through this stupid episode. This was a terrible episode. I hated this Benjamin Button shit.
Here, I
had no time for this.
He wasn't going back.
Reverse Benjamin Button. Sorry.
The only big thing we got out of this is Lionel figuring out that Genevieve killed Bridget, framed Lex, and then he basically threatens her and gets the one piece of the artifact.
One of the Infinity Stones.
One of the stones. That's it. Like that's the takeaway from this episode.
That was the best scene too.
Because Lionel
was a badass. Lionel was a smooth criminal back to his old ways and like had the antidote there. It was awesome. But
yeah, the rest of this episode,
dumpster fire.
Crap,
dumpster fire.
Was terrible.
Don't need it. All stupid. And
it didn't so just last episode, Clark and Lana are talking to maybe start getting back together. This episode, he's in the car with her driving down the road. Like, are they back together now? Like, because it definitely didn't seem
I
like
think it's
that
one
in
of
this
those things
episode.
of like way this was shot and edited. Like I do think that they might have shot some of the stuff and not knowing the order. This
I
was
can see that.
this was again, this was so bad. I had no time for this at all. Like the aging thing was stupid. Like how he went from teenager to old man died. Like that was a little extreme. Like we got a couple jumps and that was it. Lex being greasy. I
Which
do
is
like that
normal
too.
Lex.
But no,
Yeah.
it's been normal that Lex since Onyx for sure. So I do like that a little bit too. We're getting more and more of him being evil since that episode. So
Yeah.
I like that too. But everything else, dumps are fired, dumps are fired, dumps are
Yeah,
fired.
this episode was terrible.
Especially
But here's
the
the thing though,
last
like
two episodes. Like
last
this
two
is the
episodes are great, but you have to remember we are working toward the finale, and we've got a couple episodes that we
network
have to
television
fill.
too. Network television, like Joe's saying there. So
Exactly.
you have to have a couple stories. And on Tocqueville, Rosenbaum actually called the guys L and Miles and asked them
Yeah.
why this episode was so bad. And they laughed and they're like, "Yeah, this was the worst episode of the season. Season 4 was not a great episode, great season. Like our backs were against the wall in season 5, and we delivered. So that's why we got so many extra seasons afterwards. But we were on thin ice after this season, and this was a really bad episode."
Really?
Yeah, and they were like,
Interesting.
he said, you know what it's like, Michael, in the last few episodes before the season finale, where you're just trying to figure out stories. It's the worst for a writer,
But
and
that's
the way the
the other
schedule
thing is
was.
they could have put this episode, changed the stuff with Lionel and Genevieve, move that into a different episode, but like they could have put the bulk of this in somewhere in the middle, in a
Yeah.
throwaway episode in the middle. They
Or
could have
next
had this episode. Well, no, you're right. They could have done that too. But I also understand like this is the final year of high school for them.
Yeah.
Once they get out of high school, now they have a lot more to play with. They have a lot more world to play with. So,
And again, with the 5th
Interesting.
season, I would, if you're telling me arguments this 5th season, I would listen to some of those arguments, but there's a lot of great episodes. So, but this one's not so much. I'm glad we're over this one, Joe.
we got a couple episodes left, and then we're done with the season.
Yeah, I can't wait to get past season 4. Listeners, that pretty much wraps up the episode. Joe, you enjoy your holiday next week. Listeners, we may be back next week, but if not, myself and Joe will be back the following week together.
Yeah, I'll definitely be back in 2 weeks
for DC Alliance. So until then, see you, everyone.